Chapter 3, Lesson 4, the essential question that we are trying to answer is how do you use mental math to multiply two numbers? In this lesson, you're going to look at another property, and it is the distributive property. So if you would please listen to me read this, and then you can take notes. To multiply a sum or difference by a number, multiply each number in the sum or difference by the number outside the parentheses. Then you can evaluate. So if you look at what they did here, it was 3 times 7 plus 2. Distributing it is 3 times 7 plus 3 times 2. Same with subtraction. And here is the algebraic expression. Basically, all they did was put letters instead of numbers. Go ahead and pause the video to write this out. Example 1. Use the distributive property and mental math to find 8 times 53. So if we do 8 times 50 plus 3, we do 8 times 50, which is 400, plus 8 times 3, which is 24. We could do it in our heads if you can break it down and visualize it, and it's 424. When you take this number or equation and you break it apart like this, it's called the distributive property. And you will have to label it in your work just like all the other problems. All right, let's use the distributive property. And you're going to use it to find 1/2 times 2 3/4. So here's the problem. It looks like this: 1/2 times 2 plus 3/4. They broke this 2 3/4 apart. So it's 2 plus 3/4 gives you the 2 3/4. Now they broke it apart even further. 1/2 times 2, right here, plus 1/2 times 3/4. Here you will get 1, and here you get 3/8. Your answer, 1 3/8. Now you give it a try for numbers 1 through 6 and show your work. Come back when you're done. All right, example 3. And the study tip is you can use the distributive property when there are more than 2 terms in the sum or the difference. Let's take a look at that. So here you have 4 times n plus 5. So it's 4 and n plus 5, which is simple enough. And that equals 4 times n plus 4 times 5. 4 times n plus 4 times 5. You work it out, 4m plus 20. You use the distributive property when you set it up like this. B, 12 times 2y minus 3. Written out right here. You're going to split it into the distributive property, and you're going to get 12 times 2y minus 12 times 3. It is the distributive property. And we come up with 24y minus 36. C. All right, let's take a look at C. C says 6 plus x plus 2. That's in the parentheses. All of those times 9. So we do 9 times 6 plus 9 times x plus 9 times 2, and we come up with the distributive property written like that. Then you do the work. 9 times 6 is 54 plus 9x plus 18. Then you must do the commutative property. This is where you move the 9 to the outside or on this side. It doesn't matter. Remember, they can be put anywhere. but you move it so that it's not in the middle of the equation. So then you get 9x plus 54 plus 18. And kind of got blocked out here, but it's 9x plus 72. And that's your final answer. Why don't you give it a try? Make sure you're looking at all the different properties that can be used before you're sure that your answer is done. Do the on your own numbers 7 through 9, show all your work, and label your properties. All right, here is your real life application. Jose is X years old. His brother Philippe is 2 years older than Jose. Their Aunt Maria is 3 times as old as Philippe. Write and simplify an expression that represents Maria's age in years. All right, so here's where writing all this information down makes sense. You've got to separate it all out. You've got 3 names. Write all 3 names down: Jose, Philippe, and Maria. What do we know about Jose? He is X years old. His expression is going to be X. Philippe, he's 2 years older than Jose, so you add 2 to X for Philippe. Then Maria is 3 times as old as Philippe, so you have to multiply by 3. We have to keep this because this is what's going to tell us Philippe's age. To keep that, now we take Maria and multiply that times 3. The first thing we're going to do is write out the problem, which is right here. Then we're going to do it in the distributive property. It is 3x plus 3 times 2. So 3 times x, 3 times 2. Add them together. You get 3x plus 6. Maria's age in years is represented by this expression, 3x plus 6. So if we said Jose is 6, we can say 3 times 6 is 18, plus 6 is 24. That means Maria would be 24 when Jose is 6. So we can put whatever number we need to in there. All right, please do the on your own number 10 and come on back. In example 5, you're going to be combining like terms. So let's take a look at this one. It says simplify each expression. So the first one we have here is 3x plus 9 plus 2x minus 5. Well, to make it easier, we take the commutative property, and just like before when we put numbers together, we can also put variables together. So we look at this problem, there's a lot of things going on here. So let's make it a little easier to look at. They did 3x plus 2x plus 9 and minus 5. Now, the only part of the equation that can be changed around are your pluses. Your minus 5 needs to stay on the end. That is the reason they started with the 3x and the 2x, so that the 9 was here. Now we're going to do the distributive property where we say, oh, look at this. It's already split apart, but I can put it together now because that x is being shown in 2 ways. Now I can do 3 plus 2 and put an x after it, because what that 3 plus 2 with an x here is the same as saying 3x plus 2x plus 9 minus 5. Now I have 5x plus 4, and that's 9 minus 5. Easy enough. Now let's look at B. All these w's are just like saying 1y, 2y, 3y, or 1y, 1y, 1y. Remember I said you always have to have a number with that variable when you first start writing your equation. That is the multiplication property of 1. So 1y means y is the answer. Then you distribute it. Instead of saying 1y, 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 we can say 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3 times y. A little more more confusing, but it'll all come together. In C, they have 7z plus 2, and then z minus 5y in parentheses. So they put it together. They put 7z, and again, remember you can split these 2 times z, 2 times 5, 5y, because you got to keep them together. So here you go, 7z plus 2z minus 2 times 5y. Okay, distributive property. 7z plus 2z minus, because we do this work first, 10y. Then they do the distributive property. Again. So now you have z, and you have 1z, 2 z's. So now you can do 7 plus 2 times z equals, or minus 10y. Little more confusing. You will have to use these examples when you're doing the on your own. Please label and go ahead and do the on your own. And yeah, see you tomorrow.